The gloves are off. I'm playing hardball. It's 4th and 15, and you're looking at a full court press.
You're tuned into the voice of the Tampa Bay sports fan.
You're going to like this guy. He's all right. He's a good fella. He's one of us.
Buckle up, because you're on the drive with TKras. Afternoons on 95.3 WDAE and AM 620.
Welcome aboard on this Victory Monday. Good afternoon, Tampa Bay. It's 3 o'clock. The Drive with yours truly. TKras, presented by Moss Nissan, is on the air. Hope all of you had a wonderful Thanksgiving weekend. Chris Mathis on the other side. We are live in living color, don't you know, in 95.3 on the FM side, the mighty AM 620. And don't forget to download the iHeartRadio app for free. Take us with you wherever you might be headed this holiday season. Crystal clear reception through the app. It is a beautiful thing. And good afternoon to all of you watching us on the stream. I think the stream is working today. We're streaming the show on YouTube, Facebook, and X. And it is great at 953 WDAE and AM 620. Like and subscribe all day, every day. We'll take plenty of your phone calls at 888-546-4620. You can also text in your thoughts on the Bartow Ford DAE text platform. 82945 is the number. Begin your text with DAE, followed by your comments in 140 characters or less, so they make their way here. And all guests will appear via the Central Florida Behavioral Health Network DAE hotline. What an absolutely glorious day. What a glorious weekend weather-wise. I mean, I hope all of you decided to spend your Thanksgiving with close friends and family. Be grateful for the things that you have as opposed to the things that you don't have. And trust me, it certainly has been a tumultuous year for a lot of different people, and myself included. But these are the times that you look back on, you reflect, you get to spend quality time with family and friends. And boy, oh boy, I've spent a lot of time with family over the weekend, let me tell you. And the holidays are always tough when, you know, you certainly have life-altering experiences take place. And my first round of the holidays without my dad is certainly difficult. And it was difficult from over the weekend, not going to lie. But being surrounded by family certainly helps. That support system, close friends, and being able to come in and being able to do this each and every day is also a blessing in itself. So I have a lot to be grateful for and to be thankful for. And we're so glad to have you with us on this Victory Monday. We'll be with you up until 5 o'clock, and then it's Buccaneer Total Access. And you're not going to believe who's on the show today. It's our guy. Remember when this guy was on this show right after he got drafted? And I said, hey, you're in the same draft class as your good friend Bryce Young, who went number 1 overall, and Kalijah Kancey put it out there.
Bryce Young has to see me 2 times a year.
And Bryce Young saw Kalijah Kancey coming right up the middle. Great get-off, and he sacked Bryce Young, and that was the only thing I can think of when Kalijah sacked Bryce. And maybe in the back of his mind, Kalijah was thinking it too. We got to get him back on the show, Chris Mathis, so we can revisit that conversation. But Bryce Young did meet Kalijah Kancey. Hey, allow me to formally introduce myself. I'm Kalijah Kancey. I wasn't the number 1 overall pick in that year, but, you know, I was a first-round pick. Glad to meet you. Now meet the turf. So Kalijah Kancey will be the guest on Buccaneer Total Access coming up at 5 o'clock. But between now and then, it's you and me on the phones, on the text, so many ways to be interactive on this program. We'll be constructing a W at 3:45. We've got a Monday night game coming up tonight.
How are y'all doing?
Good, Jameis. And I'm very much looking forward to seeing you on Monday Night Football. And the last time we saw Jameis, it was on Thursday night with the snow and everything else. And I think he endeared himself to the national audience that wasn't privy to Jameis's quirky, engaging personality. Best way to describe it after spending a lot of time with Jameis when he was here in Tampa Bay. So I'm kind of looking forward to it. Jameis against that tough Broncos defense will construct a W there. And then at 4:30, oh my, There is so much good, bad, and ugly from the Thanksgiving weekend. You can give us yours as well on the text platform, or you can call in, where I'm going to give you mine. Good, bad, and ugly. That is coming up at 4:30 here on the program, presented by our friends over at Clearwater Gas. Chris Mathis,
yes, sir.
What are you doing over there? How's your Thanksgiving?
Oh, it was fantastic. We had great turkey that was... Oh, how did they cook that? I'm blanking on the way that they cooked that, but it was phenomenal.
Yeah, to me, it's Thursday, right?
Oh, it was so awesome. It was roasted. It was phenomenal. Had a great weekend.
It wasn't deep fried?
It was not deep fried.
Okay.
He changed it up this time. Smoked turkey is what it was.
Oh.
And now we're back here ready to rock these airwaves, man.
It is, and it's good to have you back in the saddle there after your Thanksgiving weekend with family, right?
It ain't cool being no jive turkey so close to Thanksgiving.
Well, now Thanksgiving's behind us, and now we're into December. Now we got the holidays coming up. We got a lot of different things, a lot of different events, certainly work-wise coming up this week. I'm looking forward to that as well. And we're looking forward to December football because it came in like gangbusters yesterday. In a roller coaster ride unlike anything we've seen all season. And look, that's exactly what this Buccaneers season has been. It has been a roller coaster ride that leaves you feeling nauseous. And when you get off a roller coaster, you ever been on a roller coaster where I can't believe I went on that thing? It's going backwards. It's going upside down. There's the highest of highs and then the lowest of lows. And you get off that, and I can't do roller coasters anymore, admittedly. And you get off, and you're feeling kind of sick to your stomach, but by the same token, you get this euphoric high also by, okay, listen, there were a lot of positives. I kind of liked the way it made me feel at times, but there were also some negatives. I didn't like the fact that I got sick to my stomach during that roller coaster ride. That's the Bucs season right there in a nutshell. A roller coaster ride that goes up and down, it goes backwards, you go upside down, and then at the end of the ride you're thinking, what just happened? Why did I do that? But that's your Buccaneers season in a nutshell. But thankfully for them, yesterday's game, an overtime thriller in Charlotte, turned out to be a happy one, hence Victory Monday. So now the Buccaneers are 6-6. 5 games to go. Can they build off this? Can they find a way to win this division? Where do they go from here? All legitimate questions, and that is the subject of our opening drive.
Start the engine. Gas to the floor. Here's the opening drive.
It is very exciting.
It's exciting!
It is exciting, Coach. When you win in the manner that the Bucs win, I don't care how you get there. As long as it's a W instead of an L, that's all that matters. And, last night on the overtime show, my goodness. I don't know what to expect every game day here now. Between Countdown to Kickoff is a phenomenal show. I've been at this 12-plus years, and the overtime show is something to behold. But there's certainly a drastic difference in terms of the Buccaneers and the end result and how that show will go based on whether the Buccaneers win or lose. Like when they win after the Giants game, like nobody cared. Nobody cared. Nobody called. It's kind of interesting. And it's got a kind of a fair weather feel to it. I'm just being honest and objective and just telling it like it is. And when they lose, obviously all hell breaks loose. I just think we live in a society where people are more apt to exert negative energy. They're more than willing to exert and articulate negative energy than they would positive energy. Me, listen, I'm here week in, week out. Doesn't matter. Win, lose, draw, I'm here. Giving it to you straight. And sometimes, that's probably going to piss some people off. But you know what? Who cares? That's how I feel. Now, last night, Some of you called and some of you tweeted. Like I can't. If I could physically delete my X account, I think I would at this point. But in this day and age, especially when you do what we do here, I think it's essential to try and connect with your audience and for brand management and promotion and all that good stuff, things I won't get into from a marketing standpoint. But X is also a graveyard for idiots. And I'm sorry to put it in those terms, but it's absolutely true. And I get it. Look, I've been very honest, very open on my feelings about Todd Bowles. Do I like him personally? Absolutely I do. I think he's a good man. He's a good defensive coach. He's a husband. He's a father. He's a good person. Is he the best head coach going? No. And I think I made this abundantly clear. But some of you want to hear what you want to hear, and that's fine. If that's the world that you're living in, which is not, that of reality. I think Todd Bowles is an average-ish type of coach, and his record reflects that. 8-9 in year one, 9-8 in year two. What's their record this year, Chris Mathis?
It's better than what we expected.
But what is their record?
Oh, man, I have blanked on their record,
Oh, my
man.
gosh.
Yeah, I'm put on the spot. I know.
What would you say you do here?
6-6. We are 6-6, right at 500.
Thank you, Chris Mathis. And that's my point. 8-9, 9-8, 6-6 so far. You know what that tells me? You're an average team. Average coach. He's got some qualities, some positives. He also has quite a few negatives stacked up against him. At the end of the day, he's not Andy Reid. He's not Sean McVay. He's not any of those guys. But by the same token, he's not Robert Saleh. He's not Matt Eberflus, and he's not Dennis Allen. Get the picture? Those three guys have been fired. And trust me, there will be more at the end of the season, probably another 3 or 4 coaches, and there's always one surprise firing. There will probably be about 7 head coaching vacancies after the year, which is kind of standard in the NFL. And whether or not Todd becomes one of those casualties remains to be seen. Look, there are 5 games left. But judging by his track record, those of you out there thinking the Buccaneers are going to run the table, I got some news for you. I just don't think that's realistic based on the track record we've seen over the last 2.5 years. I had the Buccaneers at 9-8. And when I made that prediction, a lot of you just lost your freaking minds over the summer. Like you're looking at this team like they're the 84 49ers or the 07 Patriots or something. They're not. They're flawed. Now, the good news about the NFL nowadays is every team out there, even the really good ones, have one huge flaw. Look at the Chiefs. Kansas City might be, 10-1? But they've got some flaws to them. And all their victories are one-score games. They always find a way. And they always take advantage of other teams' mistakes. And you saw what happened Black Friday against, by the way, the next opponent the Buccaneers will face in the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders had the Chiefs. They had them. Should have won that game. And then just an awful time management execution right at the end of the game, or else they would have beaten the Chiefs in Arrowhead. But the Chiefs are living dangerously, and I'm telling you, they're going to run into an opponent that's not going to be as forgiving with their self-inflicted mistakes. Right now, I think Buffalo's the class of the AFC, and you saw last night, man, when you get into January, and obviously we're into the month of December, when the weather starts to deteriorate, they only up their game from here to up here. I think Buffalo is absolutely a team to watch for out of the AFC. I think they're the best team in the AFC. They are. You like what Pittsburgh is doing? Baltimore, I think, is taking a couple of steps back. And I think the bye week's coming at a good time for Lamar Jackson and company. They've got some things they got to cure up. Justin Tucker looks washed to me, by the way. And a lot of people think, Kansas City, 2-time defending champs until proven otherwise. Well, Buffalo's already beaten them. Buffalo, to me, is the best team in the AFC. And Josh Allen is the MVP, no questions asked. But getting back to the Bucs, there are serious flaws with every team in this league. The NFL loves it when parity rules, and that's exactly what we have here. Now, last night, this game could have gone so many different ways. And I'll just tell you this. If it weren't for Anthony Nelson, we'd have a much different conversation here today. And a lot of you would be reacting, like I mentioned before, with a lot of angst, with a lot of disgust, with a lot of anger. And a lot of you would be pointing the finger at Todd Bowles. Fire Bowles. Get him out of here. One guy, and I should have responded to this guy next, but I had to teach him a lesson in realism. One guy was chastising Todd Bowles for not having Bucky Irving in the game. From not having Bucky Irving in the game. And the reason why he wasn't in the game is because he was on the sidelines getting taped up like freaking Frankenstein or the Mummy. He was getting his hip wrapped up. I can't believe Bowles wouldn't have him in the game. What another classic F-up by Bowles. I'm like, really? Like, how dumb are you is the question. There are certain things you can criticize Todd Bowles for, but a guy who's not in the game because he's hurt and Rachaad White was in there instead, that wasn't one of them. There's a lot of things you could have criticized Todd Bowles for. It didn't look like the Buccaneers were ready to play. I think the compete level of Carolina was there really from the opening kickoff. The Bucs offense, more than anything else, the defense had their fair share of trouble, but the Bucs offense didn't play a really good game yesterday. I know they ran for 236 yards. They had 445 yards of total offense, but Baker Mayfield in particular did not have a good game, and he ended up getting stepped on, getting cleated by his Achilles area. We're going to find out during the week what that's going to look like. But offensively, man, too many mistakes, too many false starts, too many mental errors. Liam Cohen did not call maybe his greatest game. I mean, when Baker got hurt and then he came back in the game, it's 3rd and 1, and his first play back, you're trying to pass with a wounded Baker Mayfield, and he ends up getting picked off again. There are certain things you could certainly criticize a head coach for. Clock management, game day management, the lack of in-game adjustments, that's all on the head coach. There's no question about that. Having your team ready to play or being surprised with what the opposition does, in this case, a divisional opponent, you certainly know everything they're going to do. Hell, their head coach used to be here, and Dave Canales, who's done, by the way, just as a side note, a lot of you want to criticize Dave Canales for his play calling. I think he's a better CEO. He's a better developer of quarterbacks than he is a play caller. That's why he got the Carolina job. He got the Carolina job for 2 reasons. One, he's got a track record for resurrecting quarterbacks. He helped do it up in Seattle with Geno Smith. He did it here with Baker Mayfield, and now he's doing it with Bryce Young. 2, and this is very important in the business world, everything fell right into his lap. What do I mean by that? He happened to have one of his best friends in Dan Morgan become the GM of the Carolina Panthers. And like in any walk of life, whether it's construction, catering, healthcare, broadcasting, football, you're going to hire your buddies. You're going to hire somebody that you've had a previous working relationship with, as opposed to a guy that you really don't know. Dan Morgan decided to hire Dave Canales, and that was, to Dave Canales' credit, a really good friend of his, a guy that he worked in collaboration with him in Seattle for several years, got the job as GM. Dan Morgan's like, I know Dave Canales. We've got a number 1 overall pick in Bryce Young. I think it's a good match. I think we're going to hire Dave Canales to be our head coach. And Dave Canales probably walked in there and he knocked their socks off during the interview process. He's got a real lively personality, very articulate. And I think he's doing a heck of a job with Bryce Young. Bryce Young looks like a completely different quarterback now. He looks confident. He's putting balls in tight windows. He's not hanging his receivers out to dry. For instance, the throw he made, and he was blitzed too, to Adam Thielen, where Thielen had the one-handed catch, right before the fumble, by the way. He threw that ball in only one place where Adam Thielen could get it. Away from the defender. It was an extraordinary throw. And then, of course, buying time with his legs, throwing the touchdown to Adam Thielen. The Bucs were lucky yesterday. And I'm going to tell you why. Because Eddie Pinheiro missed 2 field goals, and Adam Thielen had that touchdown taken away from him. That was absolutely a touchdown. I don't know what the officials were looking at. The one where he bobbled it in the back of the end zone. I thought he secured it with one knee down. I think the Buccaneers caught a big break there. Big. But none bigger than after the Adam Thielen one-handed touchdown, Chuba Hubbard pulled, and I know a lot of you all-time football fans will understand and appreciate this reference. Chuba Hubbard pulled an Ernest Biner, a Blair Thomas, and I'll explain that reference in a matter of moments, a Joe Pisarcik, where the game is practically won until you give it right away to the opponent. And what Anthony Nelson did on that play was extraordinary. Anthony Nelson probably saved the Buccaneers season last night with that play. Incredible. And I'll give Yaya Diaby some credit because after Nelson stripped that ball away and that ball is bouncing around on the ground, a lot of these defenders, and you even saw it last night in the snow where San Francisco fumbled and the Buffalo defender, he picked it up and started running with it. Yaya Diaby resisted that temptation of trying to pick up that ball and run with it because then you probably don't secure it and the ball's still bouncing around. Maybe Carolina jumps on it. But Yaya Diaby jumped on that ball as opposed to trying to pick it up and run with it the other way. But the play made by Anthony Nelson, extraordinary. And for the second straight year in Carolina, a huge defensive play, maybe 2 years in a row, might very well save the Buccaneers season. Last year, it was Antoine Winfield Jr. punching it out of DJ Chark's hands. He was on his way to the end zone. 7-0 Carolina. We know what the offense looked like that day. We know what Baker Mayfield looked like that day. He was less than 100%. The Buccaneers might have very well lost that game if it wasn't for Antoine Winfield Jr. And I'll tell you this, they absolutely would have lost that game had Anthony Nelson not come to the rescue. That was the biggest play of his life yesterday in Carolina. There's no question about it. And then you got to give Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers a lot of credit. Baker found Mike Evans on a very big play down the field. And then on a counter play, Rachaad White saw an opening, big run to set up the game-winning field goal, and the Buccaneers escape with a huge victory. Very, very big. And now they got a gift from the Chargers earlier in the day, thanks to Kirk Cousins, who apparently is colorblind. And now the Buccaneers are tied for first place with the 6-6 Falcons, who appear to be headed in the opposite direction. And Todd Bowles, after the game, talked about his team being in a position to now maybe steal the NFC South again. Here's the head coach.
It's hard to win in this. Well, every week we said it's a playoff game. We got to take care of us, and it's not going to be easy. As it was today, it's going to be a dogfight every week. We just got to come ready to play and make less mistakes, and our heart's into it. We got to clean up some things. We know that, but it's hard to win in this league. We'll take a win any way we can get it.
Well, he's right. It is hard to win in this league, despite what some of you, 4th and 7, I don't know why he's going for a field goal. Listen, this ain't Madden. This ain't Tecmo Bowl. This is real football. Learn how to separate the two. I can't believe that Todd Bowles decided to kick a 55-yard field goal on 4th and 7. Oh, my goodness. 888-546-4620. Text at 82945 on the Bartow 4DA text platform. We've got Constructing a W. We got so much to do between now and 5 o'clock. Buccaneer Total Access with Kalijah Cansey, the special guest. He
Bryce Young has to see me 2 times a year.
he got to see you yesterday, big man. That was the only sack of the night, by the way, for the Bucs. They have to figure out a way to apply more pressure. I'm telling you, man, Carolina's not a pushover. They were earlier in the season, but I was warning you guys about this game, and it almost bit the Buccaneers right in the rear end. Almost. But you know what? A win is a win is a win. You're going to take them. I don't care how you get them. You're going to take it. The Buccaneers did not have their best going for them last night, and they found a way to win. This is not a game that they would have won a month ago, for sure. Now, context is important, though. You're playing Carolina, the absolute worst rush defense in the NFL, and the Buccaneers exploited it. You have to identify your opponent's weakness and exploit it, and the Buccaneers did with 236 yards rushing. I tell you this, I don't know how many times I have to say this, man. Oh, my goodness. Bucky Irving is it. Whatever it looks like at running back, he is it. And I've been telling you guys about him since like OTAs, training camp, watching him. I'm like, okay, this guy is different. He's got a certain gear about him. He makes guys miss. He reads the holes well. He hits the holes. He's not the biggest guy in the world. 25 for 152 yesterday, a touchdown run. And he also added 3 catches out of the backfield on 3 targets. This guy is the centerpiece of the Buccaneers' rush offense, and it ain't close. I mean, Rachaad White, he also contributed, big 38-yard run, 11 for 76. But this run game now revolves around Bucky Irving, and it should. All right, your phone calls coming up, 888-546-4620. Text at 82945. I'll get into your text in a matter of moments. We've got Constructing a W coming up at 3:45. Good, bad, and ugly at 4:30. All right, on the way back, is it possible? Can the Buccaneers steal this division? And looking ahead at NFL playoff scenarios, what's next for the Bucs? That is next here on The Drive.
WDAE
Traffic update
from the Safe Touch Security Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by Staples Stores. Staples has amazing deals on everything you need for the holidays, from custom holiday cards and photo gifts to laptops and gaming systems, even shipping solutions. And now save up to $300.
believe in this locker room that we control our own destiny, and we're going to take it one game at a time. So this was a big one for us, and that's what we got to do, one game at a time. If we don't win, none of it matters.
Yeah. Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers escaping Charlotte with an overtime win over the Panthers. Buccaneers find themselves at 6-6. Welcome back. It is a Victory Monday here on The Drive with yours truly. Monday Morning Quarterback on DAE presented by Band-Aid. For every ouch, oops, and uh-oh, there's a Band-Aid band product that's best for you. Be wound care prepared and make sure you're covered with Band-Aid. Your calls are coming up at 888-546-4620. We've got Constructing a W, Monday Night Football. Jameis Winston will be on your television screens tonight. We're going to get into that. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Plenty from all three categories. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving weekend. And now the Buccaneers find themselves in an interesting spot. Thanks to the Chargers and the gift that keeps on giving the whole year, Clark. I think Kirk Cousins belongs to the Jelly of the Month Club. What an atrocious performance that was yesterday. Absolutely atrocious by Kirk Cousins. And give the Chargers credit. The Buccaneers got an early Christmas gift. Boy, had they blown that game against Carolina, that Chargers win probably doesn't mean much of anything, because at the end of the day, the Bucs have to take care of their own business. And if the Falcons continue to slide, then so be it. And right now, just as the Buccaneers and their bye week came at the perfect time for them, I think this bye week now for Atlanta probably comes I thought it came at a good time for them, but judging by what you saw out there, it wasn't very productive. I'm not sure what Kirk Cousins was looking at. I went back and I was watching that game this morning. I'm like, oh, my goodness. He made some of the most brutal, and I mean brutal, decision-making, throws, reads that, we've seen really all year long. But, hey, that's their problem. And now they got to go to Minnesota. Maybe the Vikings being on the other side, a former team, maybe that can galvanize them a little bit. Who knows? The Bucs have to focus at the task at hand, and that's the 2-10 Las Vegas Raiders. Now, I watched the Raiders on Black Friday, and they gave the Chiefs all they can handle. The Buccaneers should be able to beat this team, but look, the Buccaneers have a lot of flaws too, okay? And I agree with a couple of your texts that are coming in. The 407, TKras, if this team is going anywhere in the postseason, Baker absolutely has to stop with the bad interceptions. Yes, it's great and exciting to watch him scratch and crawl back into games, but it's not the recipe for ultimate success. Our guy Mike in Jupiter. Mike, you're right. And Baker has to be more mindful. Look, I think Liam Cohen probably called one of his worst games. And look, you look up at the end of the day, the Bucs ran for 236 yards. The run game and the run fits were on point. The O-line, elite. Tristan Wirfs is out there with one leg doing what he's doing. He was one of the highest-rated players on Pro Football Focus. So you love what you saw out of him. He's out there grinding it out. Just about, look, it's week 13. Everybody is less than 100%. Some more so than others. Tristan Wirfs certainly falls into that category. And Baker Mayfield, look, I think he's banged up too. He got cleated in his Achilles area. That was a very awkward way in which he was sacked. And he got hurt. Kyle Trask came in, and I was like, Kyle Trask is in the game. Oh, well. The postgame show is brought to you by, and then Baker Mayfield, toughness personified. He's out there. But first play, first drop back, 3rd and 1. Liam Cohen goes for a pass. Come on. You're running the ball right down their throats. That's right. Why in the world are you calling a pass play with your injured quarterback? And Todd Bowles is right in that clip. They better clean things up. But the other thing you got to like about this Bucs team is, man, oh, man, it looked like they were dead. And then all of a sudden, they were rising from the depths of hell. Todd Bowles, after the game, talked about his team's resilience yesterday in Carolina.
Well, the last run Rashad got to finish it, the 2-minute to tie the ball game in overtime, going to make it go into overtime, just putting the ball down the field where it needed to be, the receiver getting down on the slant with 6 seconds left, making it 3 seconds on the clock, just the awareness that we didn't have in the first half of the year. As the young guys were growing, they seemed like they grew up today.
They did. And the awareness was on point. And look, Sterling Shepard, and I got a lot of this on the overtime show yesterday, and he had a drop, and he's always good for like one penalty a week. And some fans are wondering, well, why is he in there? He's in there because once you get past Mike Evans, there's a lot of inexperience in that room. And I think Baker trusts Sterling Shepard. That's why he's there. And he made that one big catch right there to set up the field goal to tie it at the end of regulation. So that was a big play. And after the Adam Thielen touchdown, that made it 23-20, 30 seconds left, all 3 timeouts. By the way, that was big. Now, Todd Bowles maybe a month ago would have blown a timeout somewhere needlessly in the second half. They kept all their timeouts in their pocket for when you need it the most, especially when you're in a close game. You need those timeouts in the last 2 minutes in case you've got to go down the field. And the Bucs had all 3 timeouts and 30 seconds left. After Carolina went up 23-20, Mike Evans catches a pass, 15 yards. Baker had a big scramble of 10 yards. And look, Baker made some mistakes, but he also made some big throws to Mike, and he had that big scramble too. So it wasn't all terrible, but and Baker, look, admitted after the game that, he needs to up his level of play. And then Sterling Shepard made the big catch, timeout, to set up the 52-yard field goal by McLaughlin, and he nailed it. And then we're on to overtime. And then comes the coin toss. So you guys know that Baker Mayfield was out there. Buccaneers had lost 2 overtime games where Baker was out there for the coin toss. So he turned to Levante David. He said, you go out there instead. You're Levante freaking David. Maybe you can bring us some better luck. So Levante David went out there. He called heads, and it was heads. And the Buccaneers got the ball first. And Baker, unfortunately, took a bad sack. And McLaughlin missed the 55-yard field goal. By the way, Trenton Gill, or whatever his name is, he ain't cutting the mustard, dog. As a holder on the field goals, on the kicks, and as a punter, I thought he was atrocious yesterday. And I think the Bucs have a real problem there. They've had a problem at the punting position all year because Jay Camarda, was in a real big slump, and the Buccaneers didn't like what they saw there. Remember, they deactivated him, and they brought in Gill. They decided to keep Gill and dump Camarda. I don't know if that's such a great move, but that's besides the point. But I want you to hear Levante David after the game talking about the coin toss in particular. Here's Levante.
I mean, it was crazy because, I'm sitting on the sidelines and we just made eye contact. And he like, you want to go out there on the coin toss? Like, you want to go out there? I'm like, you, me, you. And he was like, and then he just walked off the field. So all right, I'll take it. And then, I wouldn't say nervous. I'm just, probably just anxious, to see what's going on. I stuck with what I called early in the game. We wanted to talk early in the game, and I stuck with that same call.
And it was heads. Heads, I win. Tails, you lose. And it worked out for the Buccaneers in the end. Your calls and texts are coming up. The good, the bad, and the ugly, and everything else. Also on the way back, we're going to let you know what's on tonight. Plus, constructing a W, Monday Night Football with our guy, Jameis. And that is coming your way next here on The Drive.
You're locked in to The Drive with TKras.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is The Drive. It is presented by our guys over at Moss Nissan, where their goal is to never lose your business over price. Yours truly, Chris Mathis alongside. And the holidays are here, and Moss Nissan, guys, is doing whatever it takes to make this season unforgettable with your shot and up to $5,000 in holiday cash. What's up with that, Chris Mathis?
Yeah, I mean, here's the deal. Here is the game plan. You visit any Moss Nissan location, you pick out a new or pre-owned vehicle, and once the deal is done, you'll grab an envelope from their holiday tree.
I don't know, man. No one was handing me any envelopes when I was there a couple of weeks ago. They just said, hey, here's your bill. Inside, you can score anywhere from $500 to $5,000 in holiday cash. And with over $30,000 on the line, Moss Nissan is bringing the holiday magic.
You got that right, and don't miss your chance to win at a big prize up to $5,000 in holiday cash. Head to Moss Nissan today.
You got that right. They've got 3 locations, Tampa, Newport Richie, or Brooksville, or online at mossnissan.com. That's mossnissan.com. Moss Nissan, doing whatever it takes to make your holidays epic. Merry Christmas!
WDAE
Traffic update.
This report is sponsored.
TKras on 95.3 WDAE and AM 620. Constructing a W, presented by CMK Construction.
And here he is to lay it all on the line like he did at the Thanksgiving dinner table. Chris Mathis.
All right, Tampa Bay. A little Monday Night Football action tonight as your former quarterback and Jameis Winston will take on the Denver Broncos in Denver. 3-8 Browns at 7-5 Broncos. Tom?
How are y'all doing?
I'm good, Jameis. And I am rolling with my guy, Jameis Winston, and the Cleveland Browns. They are 3-8, but they're coming off an impressive win in the snow. His last time out against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And now they're going to Denver, a very tough place to play, a tough Broncos defense, and a homecoming of sorts, sort of, a revenge game for Browns wide receiver Jerry Jeudy. Remember, a first-round pick of the Broncos. It didn't work out there. He requested a trade, and now he's going back to Denver, and he'll likely see a lot of Patrick Surtain here tonight. That is one matchup that the Browns have to be very, very leery of, and Jameis cannot throw any balls in the direction of Patrick Surtain, who is, I think, the very best corner right now in the NFL. Stay away from Surtain, and they might have a chance to win.
On the flip side, rookie quarterback Bo Nix looks to win his third consecutive game, and dating back in that 2-game winning streak as they look to make it 3 straight, Bo Nix has 6 passing touchdowns, not a single interception. It goes back as far as 8 passing touchdowns, 0 interceptions in his last 3 games. He's taken pretty good care of the football as well. He's had a couple of rush yards along the way. Bo Nix is the reason for success with the Sean Payton offense here tonight if they come away with a win, their 3rd straight.
Constructing a W presented by CMK Construction, proudly serving Tampa Bay and Sarasota communities. They're my guys. Call them today, 813-321-4426, or visit them online, cmkconstructioninc.com. Together, we'll make tomorrow brighter.
What's on tonight with The Drive with TKras?
Yes, sir, and it's brought to you by our guy, John Howard, and his amazing team at HowardTeamHomeLoans.com. Here's our guy, Chris Mathis.
All right, once again, Monday Night Football. Yes, big game, Browns at Broncos.
How are y'all doing?
For a fantastic performance by our former quarterback, Jameis Winston, tonight. Game kicks off at 8:15 on the 4-letter network. Also, if you missed any of today's programming, go check out the free iHeartRadio app. Search up The Drive with TKras. You'll see that follow button. I didn't say it. I don't think any of you guys have said that lately. Click follow and stay up to date with each and every commercial-free podcast we put out.
You haven't been on social media, have you?
I've seen a couple of things.
Yeah, I bet you have.
I've seen a few things.
Despise him.
People don't like it, okay, when you're spouting the truth and you interrupt their delusional mentality. People don't like it. But you know what? Someone's got to say what's going on around here. All right, we got one more hour to go. Coming up, oof. What a bizarre game in Charlotte yesterday. It was kind of a grunty type of game, but the Buccaneers found a way. What is the biggest takeaway, and can the Buccaneers actually win the NFC South? I'm going to tell you about another way that the Buccaneers could get into the playoffs. I'll reveal it next.
You're locked in to The Drive with TKras.
In the aftermath of the year that we've been through, hurricane season and everything else, I know a lot of you are rebuilding. Maybe you want to remodel or refurbish your kitchen or your bathrooms. If you're looking to make that call, that decision, you got to call on my guys over at CMK Construction. They are the kitchen and bath experts, don't you know? They've been at this more than 20 years. Luxury products, quality install. You get a free consultation. They will help you consult, design, or build the kitchen or bathroom of your dreams. By the way, they do great work, and they've been recognized for it, too. For the 4th year in a row, voted the #1 kitchen and bathroom remodeling company, according to readers of the Tampa Bay Times People's Choice Best of the Best Award. So give them a call. Tell them I sent you. They'll treat you great. 813-321-4426. That's 813-321-4426. Or hit them up online at cmkconstructioninc.com. CMK Construction, they're the kitchen and bath experts. Let them know that I sent you.
Tampa Bay Sports Radio. Tampa Bay sports fan.
You're going to like this guy. He's all right. He's a good fella. He's one of us.
Buckle up. Because you're on the drive with TKras. Afternoons on 95.3 WDAE and AM 620.
Well, every week we said it's a playoff game. We got to take care of us, and it's not going to be easy. As it was today, it's going to be a dogfight every week. We just got to come ready to play and make less mistakes, and our heart's into it. We got to clean up some things. We know that, but it's hard to win in this league. We'll take a win any way we can get it.
Todd Bowles and the Buccaneers escaping Charlotte with a big overtime win over the Carolina Panthers. It did not look good there, but a play made by Anthony Nelson may have saved the Buccaneers' season. Good afternoon, Tampa Bay. Welcome back on this Victory Monday. The Drive with TKras presented by Moss Nissan. Chris Mathis on the other side. Great to have you with us. I hope all of you had a wonderful Thanksgiving weekend. I know I sure did. Boy, family here, family there, family everywhere, right? Stuffing your faces, watching football. The Thanksgiving games were kind of interesting. You saw the Bears. Oh, my gosh. How hard is it to be a Bears fan? Look, I can relate. Being a Jets fan is excruciating. But the Bears have a lot of talent. What they did at the end of that game was an atrocity. And Matt Eberflus absolutely deserved to get fired. And you hate to see like somebody get fired, but look, when you mess up, when you show incompetence to the first degree, unlike anything we've ever seen before, you're going to pay for it, man. And a lot of people thought he probably never should have been the coach to begin with when Caleb Williams got drafted. But look, there you have it. He's out. Although that was kind of an interesting, development there. Speaking of developments, we got a development. What happened to our breaking news sounder, Chris Mathis?
We've got so many drops on there, man. We moved it. We got rid of it. Yeah,
it's all right because we've got some breaking news regarding your Tampa Bay Buccaneers. After his atrocious performance yesterday, we just talked about this in a prior segment. The Buccaneers have released punter Trenton Gill. He's gone, and we couldn't do nothing about it.
Ow. Third prize is you're fired.
He's gone. He was bad. And now the Buccaneers will be searching for yet another punter. Number 3. Because Jake Camarda, he wasn't working out. He got into a big-time slump. Ball striking was an issue with him. I just think also it gets in your head mentally, too, as a kicker. We should have gotten Martin Gramatica on to talk about that.
That would have been perfect.
Martin would have been great to talk about Trenton Gill being let go. And let's see, what do we got? Who do we have tomorrow?
Tomorrow, it's full slate. We're wide open, man. 3 to 5.
I'm working on Martin Gramatica for tomorrow. I want to talk to him about Trenton Gill, these kicking problems that the Buccaneers have had at the punting position. I'll reach out to him. He's probably listening right now. He might text me like in any second. But we're going to get Martin Gramatica back on the show because we need to talk about what's happening here. We're doing this like live. I'll do it live.
Hey, you know what? That's just how it works sometimes. It's authentic.
And that's the great thing about what we do here is like you may have a plan and then something happens and you have to alter the plan, but
almost like a Buccaneer game plan, I mean, you got to make changes at some point.
Yeah, well, that's what good coaches do, right? Oh, come on.
Give the guy a break, man.
And look, some games, Todd Bowles is kind of slow to adjust, and that's his fault. And that's where I've absolutely criticized him for. There was a notion on X that I was defending him to no end and that I've never criticized any of his moves. And that's like the dumbest narrative among the other stupid narratives that circulate on social media, which I said before is a graveyard for idiots. It is hard to win in this league. And had Anthony Nelson not stripped the ball away from Chuba Hubbard, the Bucs would be in a hole. We would have an entirely different conversation here today. You're 5-7, and I'm telling you, the phone lines would be filled with people looking to fire Todd Bowles. All of them. But you're not going to see any mention of, Liam Cohen, who has done a really good job for the most part. Yesterday was not one of his better days. Baker Mayfield has been a godsend to this team and his community. Yesterday was not one of his better days. But when it mattered the most, Buccaneers down 23-20 with 30 seconds left. He made the big play to Mike Evans on a 15-yarder. He also had a big 10-yard scramble. He completed the pass to Sterling Shepard to set up the game-tying field goal. And then after Hubbard choked that ball away and choked.
Choke him now! Choke him! Choke him!
Oh, he choked, man, unlike anything you've ever seen. For you old-time football enthusiasts out there, Joe Pisarcik, Ernest Biner, the fumble. Ironically enough, Browns and the Broncos tonight on Monday Night Football, in reference to Ernest Biner. And then for me, as a Jets fan growing up, Blair Thomas had one of the more egregious fumbles that I can ever recall. Back in 1991, it was a Monday night game too. And I remember all these games. All these games are seared into my memory, the bad ones mostly. So the Jets were in Soldier Field playing the Bears. Jim Harbaugh was a quarterback at the time. And the Jets had the lead. They were up by a touchdown. It was less than 2 minutes left. It was like a minute and a half left in the game. They're literally running out the clock to preserve the victory. Blair Thomas, who was the number 2 overall pick back in the day, 1990 draft behind Jeff George. He had a great game up until the last minute, where he took a handoff up the middle, and it was kind of like the same thing I saw yesterday with Anthony Nelson. And Steve McMichael, who just got into the Hall of Fame, grabbed at his arm, pulled the ball right out. He actually pulled it away from Blair Thomas. He stripped him, and he landed on the ground with the ball, and the Bears stripped the ball away. Incredible turnover. They went down. They tied it on a touchdown with like a couple seconds left, and then they won in overtime. That's what that reminded me of. Chuba Hubbard's got to be a real sick man today, because all he had to do was put 2 arms around the ball, hold on to it for dear life after that Adam Thielen one-handed catch, and I think Carolina would have won the game, and we'd be having a much different conversation today regarding the Bucs at 5-7. But thankfully, the Buccaneers found a way. When you don't have your A game and you find a way to win, that's a good quality to have. And now the Bucs and the Falcons are tied. Falcons have that tiebreaker, but Atlanta was, brutal yesterday. Well, I'll take that back. Kirk Cousins was brutal. I thought Atlanta, outside of him, Bijan Robinson played well. Their defense actually had like 5 sacks of Justin Herbert, believe it or not. But Kirk Cousins with 4 interceptions absolutely gave that game away. And now the Bucs and the Falcons, with 5 games left, they are tied atop the NFC South at 6-6. But also an interesting development is that the Buccaneers are a game and a half behind the Commandos for the 7th and last playoff spot in the NFC. And as you know, the Bucs have the tiebreaker over the Commandos by virtue of the head-to-head win back in Week 1. So that is also something that bears watching. Because this morning I went back and look, the Commandos beat the Titans yesterday, but they had lost their previous 3 games. They're on the bye this coming week. And their schedule is not very easy the rest of the way. At the Saints coming out of the bye, and then they play an Eagles team right now who's playing about as well as anybody in the NFL. And then they got the Falcons, and then they go to Dallas. So the Commandos' schedule is not very easy. So if the Buccaneers, by some chance, can't win the South, then maybe, just maybe, look, if they win 3 of their last 5, which I think will happen, and they finish 9-8. If the Commandos also finish 9-8, then it's the Buccaneers who get that last wild card spot in the NFC. So there might be another way for the Buccaneers to get in. Might. Now, the other thing is that, you got a lot of other teams too that are in that 6-6 range that are right there as well. You had the Rams. The Rams just got a win at New Orleans yesterday after the Saints got off to an early lead. So right now you've got the Commandos with that 7th and deciding playoff spot at 8-5. And then the Buccaneers are in 8th place at 6-6. Arizona 6-6. The Rams are 6-6. The Niners, you saw them last night, 5-7. They're done. The 49ers are finished. Christian McCaffrey hurt his knee. PCL injury. He's out for the rest of the year. They were without Trent Williams, who suffered, by the way, a personal tragedy, and our hearts and prayers go out to Trent and his wife. They just lost their newborn son, Trent Williams Jr. So a terrible, terrible event for that family, and wish them the very, very best. Nick Bosa didn't play yesterday. Fred Warner does not look like the dominant player. I think the Niners are done, man. You can stick a fork in them at 5-7. And then the Cowboys are 5-7. The Buccaneers will see them in a couple of weeks on Sunday Night Football. So there might be another way. Let's go to our phones. But put that guy on. What's the matter with you? Mike is in St. Pete. Mike. Hi, Mike.
Hey, Tommy C.
Hey.
I had a hell of a weekend. It don't happen too often. I had a 5-1 NFL weekend on my wagers, so I got real lucky. It was Thanksgiving big time, so
nice.
The Seahawks really put the gravitas on the whole thing, so that was cool. Hey, I'm with you. I think these Bills are the favorite right now, and I like the Eagles. Don't you think the Eagles and the Bills are a likely matchup in the bowl?
Yes, I do. I think that's absolutely possible. I think this is where, and Tom Brady used to talk about this the 3 years he was here in Tampa and really for years before that. But when Tom came here, he always emphasized Thanksgiving. Once you get to Thanksgiving and past Thanksgiving, this is where you need to turn it up a notch or two. And if you remember, the Buccaneers went on that bye, and then they came after that bye in the 2020 season. They never lost another game.
Yep, that's right. And I'm looking at the Bengals. Now, how do you have arguably one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the NFL and probably the top wideout, and you can't win games? Why? Because their defense sucks, Tom. It's terrible.
It is really, really bad, and I appreciate the phone call, Mike. Glad you had a great weekend. I watched the Bengals yesterday. Russell Wilson went for over 400 yards passing. The Steelers are not known for offense and high-flying offense. Over 400 yards passing for Russell Wilson. Are you kidding me? That was embarrassing. If you're the Bengals, man, oh, man. Outside of Trey Hendrickson, I would completely overhaul that defense. And it's a shame because I think Lou Anarumo is a good coach, but I just don't think he has a lot of good talent to work with on that side of the ball. I mean, you want to talk, I know we got the good, the bad, and the ugly coming up, but you want to talk about bad? It was the Bengals defense. I mean, that's about as bad as they can possibly get. My goodness. 414 yards for Russell Wilson. They had over 500 yards of total offense, 520 to be exact. Let's go to Brian in Rochester, listening through the iHeart app. Brian?
Hey, TKras, listen, I don't want to look a gift horse in the mouth. I'm happy for the victory, even though probably shouldn't have been a victory. But listen, the Bucs have got to play better down the stretch. I mean, you just talked about turning it up after Thanksgiving. If they play down the stretch the way they played yesterday, they're not going to win another game, or they're going to struggle to win a game. The defense, I just don't get it. I mean, every game, except maybe with the exception of last week against the Giants, they allow the quarterback, and it doesn't even matter who the quarterback is, to just pick them apart. Like, there's no pressure on the quarterback, And the zone defense, I know they haven't given up a whole lot of big plays this year, but it's when a team marches down the field and takes 4, 5, 6 minutes off the clock in doing so, and just kind of spreads the ball at will. That's not a good thing. There's playmakers on this team, but where are they?
Look, I'll tell you this, and Brian, I appreciate the phone call very much because I want other guys to get in here as well. I watched that last touchdown to Adam Thielen, and he crossed face right in front of Antoine Winfield Jr., and it's like, what are you looking at? Right in front of you. A lot of people want to blame Todd. And look, you could blame Todd, but he blitzed. I mean, he tried to get after Bryce Young. The Bucs only had 1 sack. And Carolina's O-line playing reasonably well. Diaby had 3 pressures. Anthony Nelson had 3 quarterback hits. But I thought they did a really good job. You barely heard Vita Vea mention yesterday. He had 1 tackle, 1 quarterback hit, and that was it. Kalijah Kancey had the only sack. But they're not getting any pressure coming off the edge. None. And it's really hard to operate when you don't get pressure on the quarterback and you got guys on the back end. I'm not sure what they're looking at. What are you looking at? Pat is in Citrus Park. Pat, good afternoon.
You nailed it, sir. Hey, by the way, you're killing it as usual. Excellent show with Chris Mathis.
CM Punk.
Hey, make a long story. Yeah, go ahead.
We just call him CM Punk 2.0 now, Chris Mathis.
Yeah, come on. No. You got to show. You got to call it the TNC show. Yeah, you got to give him the upgrade. Yeah, come on, man. Hey, look. Make a long story short, I'll see you guys in the press box on the Raiders game. Chris knows that. He knows the bet I have with him. Correct?
There's some sort of bet?
I do remember that.
Well,
and what is it?
Well, what's the bet? What are we talking about?
He has this bet
it's
where
$500.
$500?
Go ahead.
What?
You got it, Pat. Take it away, Pat.
This is. You ready? You ready? Hey, this is what we're going to do. We're going to double down at the Golden Diamond Source because that's one of your advertisers. And, yeah. And then he's going to lay down a knee with, guess who?
Wow.
Chris?
Look, that's a decision that Chris Mathis will make if he decides to make it.
Yeah, of course. He told me that 2 years ago. I've been having this bet with him for 2 years. Make a long story short, if Baker Mayfield lays down a knee, meaning, what do you call it? Just whatever.
Takes a knee.
Takes a knee. Thank you, sir. And you're going to take a knee, sir. And I'm going to double up at the Golden Mathis Source, Golden Diamond Source, or whatever it's called. You guys advertise that stuff.
We do, hey. Pat, and thanks for the phone call. This is happening way too slow. I'm not sure what you were trying to say there. Let's go to Mike in Tampa. You got to keep things moving here. Landon. Mike.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Love this show. Quick question. So I know it all worked out, but what's your guys' opinion on kicking that first field goal in overtime from 50, 55 yards out or whatever it is, knowing that if you miss that kick, the other team only has to go like 15, 20 yards, and then they can kick it to win the game. I feel like it might have been a better idea to just pin them back deep and, give your defense a shot to hold them deep. What are your thoughts?
I think, and Mike, it's a legitimate question. It came up last night on the Overtime Show. But the Bucs have so much confidence in Chase McLaughlin. That guy kicks 50-plus yarders like it's nobody's business. He makes them regularly. So 55-yarder was a makeable field goal. Problem is the punter/holder, who's not here anymore, by the way, Trent Gill, did a bad job, A, as a punter, B, as a holder. And that's why the Buccaneers cut him just a few minutes ago. Trenton Gill's gone, and we couldn't do nothing about it. But I think they have supreme confidence in Chase McLaughlin. He made a 52-yard field goal to tie it at the end of regulation. He's made those consistently. So I don't have a big problem. It was 4th and 7. You're not going to go for it there. This ain't Madden or Tecmo Bowl. I think they're trying to put points on the board and, in overtime, try and stopping the opposition from doing the same. And thankfully, Anthony Nelson came through with the biggest play of the year to this point. And now the Buccaneers are 6-6 and right there in the middle of the playoff chase. 888-546-4620. Text at 82945. You guys remarking on the text platform about the previous caller there. Well, that was painful to listen to. Listen, I got no patience for that, all right? You want to call up? I'm more than happy to talk to anybody, but two things. One, get to your point. Two, land it, meaning land the plane. And these are rules that I have for the overtime show as well. All right, when we come back, a lot happening over the Thanksgiving weekend in sports and beyond. I want to hear your version. I'm going to give you my version of the good, the bad, and there was some ugliness, too, that took place over the weekend, and that is coming up next here on The Drive.
You're locked in to The Drive with TKras.
It is The Drive, and it is presented by our guys over at Moss Nissan, where their goal is to never lose your business over price. It's your boy Tom Krasnicki here. Chris Mathis, CM Punk 2.0 there, where Moss Nissan is ready for the holidays, and so are you, hopefully. And to celebrate, Moss Nissan is doing whatever it takes to make this season unforgettable with your shot at up to $5,000 in holiday cash. What?
Yeah, here's the game plan, Tom. Visit any Moss Nissan location, pick out a new or even a pre-owned vehicle, and once that deal is done, go grab an envelope from their holiday tree.
Without question, listen, you need to get all over it, and inside you can score anywhere from $500 to $5,000 in holiday cash. With over $30,000 on the line, Moss Nissan is bringing that holiday magic.
Yeah, you heard that right, Tampa Bay. Don't miss your chance at the big win, up to $5,000 in holiday cash. Head to Moss Nissan today.
They've got 3 locations in the Bay Area, North Tampa, Newport Richie, and or up in Brooksville, right up to Suncoast Parkway. Or hit them up online. You can check out their inventory at mossnissan.com. That's mossnissan.com. Moss Nissan, doing whatever it takes to make your holidays epic. Merry Christmas.
WDAE
Traffic update.
This report is sponsored by PayPal.
This season.
Don't talk. If you're going to call up, talk. All right, welcome back. You freaking people, man. Everyone keeps wondering, why do you keep saying that? Well, now you know why, okay? You don't see what I see. You don't experience what I experience. It's entertaining to a certain extent, but man, oh man, it can also be quite nauseating too. All right, it is time for the good, the bad, and the ugly, presented by our friends over at Clearwater Gas. And over the Thanksgiving weekend, I mean, you're talking about a lot of things happening in terms of the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's talk about the good. Let's talk about Anthony Nelson. Good. Great play by Anthony Nelson. Might have saved the Buccaneers season. Mike Evans yesterday, really good. Some big catches. That touchdown was extraordinary against J.C. Horn, who's a really good corner. Mike had 8 catches for 118 yards. He was really good. You know who else is really good? Bucky Irving. Bucky the Buccaneer. 25 for 152 on the ground, a touchdown run there. 3 catches as well. He was fantastic. The Buccaneers found the way. It wasn't their best effort. They probably deserved to lose the game, but they didn't. It's about wins, baby. Wins. Speaking of winning, the Bills are doing some winning, and watching that game in the snow last night in Buffalo makes you appreciate the kind of player that Josh Allen is and what Josh Allen has become. And by the way, if you play fantasy and you had Josh Allen, he had the double whammy on that play to Amari Cooper where he pitched it back to Josh Allen and he dove for the pylon. So Josh Allen got credited for a touchdown pass and a touchdown reception on the same play. That's how you win in fantasy football, man. But Josh Allen right now is the MVP of the league. He has been nothing short of splendid. And right now, I think Buffalo's the best team in the AFC. I think Detroit is still the best team in the NFC, but I think the Eagles are right there with them. The rivalry weekend in college football was intense, in a word. Florida Gators, big win over FSU. That was fun to watch. Michigan stunning Ohio State was fun to watch, unless you're an Ohio State fan. But rivalry weekend was intense, man. Those teams got after it. You love to see it. And the other good thing, from a personal note, is spending Thanksgiving with close family and friends, and I know you guys can certainly attest to that. And I want to hear from all of you. You're good, you're bad, you're ugly, but being able to break bread with people that have been there for you all year long, and which has been really a tumultuous year for all of us, including yours truly, it made me appreciate and, really cherish these moments that you will always cherish for the rest of your life. So being able to spend Thanksgiving with your family, with my family, as crazy as they are, certainly was a blessing in itself. That was my good. Bad, what the Bears did toward the end of the game on Thanksgiving against the Lions, that was about as bad as it gets. Matt Eberflus being fired the next day, that's bad. Good for the Bears, they moved on from him, but Matt Eberflus was just, oh my goodness, absolutely disgraceful. The Raiders, the way they treated the tail end of that game on Black Friday against the Chiefs, that was also really, really bad. Really bad. And ugly, I'll tell you, man, and I don't get this, and maybe some of you can explain it to me, but the whole flag planting thing that caused a number of skirmishes, a number of fights, certainly between Florida and Florida State, Michigan, Ohio State, where the authorities had to come in and pepper spray some people. That was ugly. That was an ugly scene, and there's no place for it, honestly. Listen, and I know it started with you, Baker Mayfield, and I know he was asked about it. And look, I know what Baker was saying yesterday. It's rivalries, and rivalries are fun, but when you take it to that extreme, and that's what this whole flag planting thing is, it's extreme. In my opinion, it's unnecessary. It's insulting. It causes more problems than it's worth. I don't think there's any need in the game for it. You got all these kids, they're pumped up, these youngsters on testosterone. You're trying to test someone else's manhood. nothing good or productive can come from it. So the whole flag planting thing was ugly. And the Trevor Lawrence hit by Azeez Al-Shire, by the way, a Tampa native who will be suspended. I think he should be suspended for multiple games because he's done some things before in his not too distant past. That was about as ugly as it gets. So
he did it to Tom Brady, too. Hit him in the throat a couple of years ago with the Buccaneers.
He tried to choke him. He tried to choke him out. And Tom Brady, hey.
Choke him.
He's like, question. No question here, Tommy boy, is did you complain about it? You did, didn't you? And it didn't turn out well for you. But that was about as ugly as it gets. And Evan Ingram going right after Al-Shire, good for him. You got to stick up for your quarterback. I mean, there's no place in the game for horse manure like that. Chris Mathis, you want to add to you're good, you're bad, you're ugly?
Yeah, for sure. I did watch Christmas Vacation. That was good. I did thoroughly enjoy that movie. So what's even better than that is potential Mathis movie trivia surrounding that here this holiday season. The bad was the performance by Baker Mayfield for the majority of that game yesterday. It was frustrating. We saw a Jameis-like sequence of plays where he came in, threw the ball on the far sideline. Incredible. Very next play, turns the ball over. You're thinking, what did I just watch? Yeah. But he's a gamer. He came back, was able to make the plays that mattered down the stretch and help lead that Buccaneer offense to a victory. And the ugly was the holiday traffic, man.
Oh.
I mean, as if the traffic isn't already bad enough. Holiday traffic was unbelievable over the weekend, and we can all attest to that. I mean, we all witnessed that. It's brutal.
Let me just say this, okay? And I see this every single night when I'm driving, and I don't know why. I have an idea. But for you guys out there who drive with your headlights off, what in the world, dude? Are you that drunk? Are you that high that you don't realize your headlights aren't on? And I see it every night, and it's dangerous. All right, here's a PSA for you, okay? Go into your car, and where your headlights are on, you see the gauge, click it to auto. Put it on auto, then you won't have to worry about it. And when you get in your car, unless you drive a freaking Yugo from 1987, your car will sense that there's darkness, and your lights will automatically click on. Put it on auto so you don't have to worry about it. I see it every night. It's crazy. There's your PSA for the day. The good, the bad, and the ugly presented by Clearwater Gas. Florida's weather is unpredictable, but natural gas keeps businesses running even during outages. With great incentives, now's the time to switch. Hit them up online, clearwatergas.com. All right, let's take a phone call or two. We got Buccaneer Total Access at the top of the hour. Tommy is up in New York listening through the app, I suppose. Tommy.
What's up there, Tom? How you doing, buddy?
Hey, buddy.
Hope you guys had a good Thanksgiving. Everybody's families down south.
How you feeling?
So. Just still on the injured reserve list.
I hear
still
you.
not allowed to fly yet. My vision is kaputting on me. So I was listening to you yesterday. I was going to call. I said I'll give a break. I'll listen to all the guys call. But otherwise, I just got off the phone with Scotty. We're talking about the game. What was I going to say? Tom, when I was watching the Atlanta game, and I'm saying, wow, this is great. They're going to lose this game.
Mm-hmm.
How do the Bucs come out so flat? We scored that touchdown. I said, this is a good start. Now you got to, blow these guys out, man. Show that you it means something. And then the whole rest of the game, I'm saying, I can't believe it. They got a chance to pick up a full game. Because like you said last night, if they lost that game, might as well start packing your bags, go vacation or go golfing.
100%.
And the kicking game, yeah, I knew that kid, he wasn't going to last. That one punt went about 20 yards.
Yeah.
I really couldn't see it. Like I say, I got to listen to the TV, but you were saying about some of the snaps and the holding was kind of shaky.
It was very, very shaky, Tommy, and I appreciate the call. I got to run because I'm up against the break. It's great to hear from you. God bless, and I hope you feel better soon. And look, you paid for it. Trenton Gill is gone. Buccaneers cut him a few minutes ago. And now they'll be on the lookout for yet another punter. All right, when we come back, final thoughts, the final drive, a look ahead to tomorrow here on a Victory Monday. Stay with us.
You're locked in to The Drive with TKras.
Your boy TKras here alongside Chris Mathis for our guys over at Moss Nissan, where their goal is to never lose your business over price. And guess what, guys? The holidays are here. It's the month of December, and Moss Nissan is doing whatever it takes to make this season unforgettable. How are they doing it? Well, you have a shot to win up to $5,000 in holiday cash. That's how they're doing it.
And it's easy, Tampa Bay. Go visit any Moss Nissan location. Pick out a new or even a pre-owned vehicle, and once the deal is done, grab an envelope from their holiday tree.
Listen, I was just there a couple of weeks ago for our broadcast. No one gave me an envelope. Yeah, they gave me an envelope that had a pink slip in it. Inside, you can score anywhere from $500 to $5,000 in holiday cash. With over $30,000 on the line, Moss Nissan is bringing that holiday magic.
So don't miss your chance at the big win, up to $5,000 in holiday cash. Head to Moss Nissan today.
You do that. They've got 3 locations, Tampa, Newport Richie, or Brooksville. Or you can hit them up online at mossnissan.com. That's mossnissan.com. Moss Nissan, doing whatever it takes to make your holidays epic. Merry Christmas!
WDAE.
620. I want to thank all of you who called in, who texted in. By the way, my Yugo reference resonated with somebody in the text platform out of the 941 who said that his sister bought a 1987 Yugo for like $3,500, and it was dead and done before she hit 5,000 miles. It's been a long-standing family joke / lesson since then. Put your headlights on auto so you won't have to worry about it. Don't cause a crash for yourself or others out there. There are a lot of crazy people on the roadways. All right, we'll be back tomorrow. Martin Gramatica hopes to join us. We got Fill in the Blank as well. For Chris Mathis, your boy Tom Krasnicki, Buccaneer Total Access. Coming up next, you're dismissed.
Come on, get out of here! Choke him now! Choke him! Choke him!
Did you hear what this man said to me? Now, I have witnesses. This man
Tampa
is physically
Bay
threatening
Sports
me.
Radio.